It also is what drives altcoin season.
So this is massive. Coinbase, a very well-respected, publicly traded company, just warned investors altcoin season is coming, and what they revealed may shock you. Because as I share with you the first chart of 1, 2, 3 charts, watch today's whole video. Just understand that you subscribe to Altcoin Daily for perspective in crypto, for an edge investing. And my perspective, for me, is altcoin season really begins with the combination of 3 different factors. Number 1, global liquidity, which is global M2, meaning all the money globally, not just the United States, but globally, has to go up. And the Bitcoin price tends to correlate at about a 12-week lag. So a 12-week head start, Bitcoin then has a 12-week delay.
Bitcoin literally followed the green line. Now that green line is about to go even higher. What's the green line? Global liquidity. That's money print to go burr. Which, what do you think that means the red line is going to do? Let's all review, kids. If the red line, Bitcoin price, follows the green line, global liquidity, and the green line is about to go way higher, what do you think the red line is going to do?
There's about an 80% correlation there. And here's an update on the global M2 versus Bitcoin price. Nice to still see the $150,000 target here, meaning M2 continues to go up. And altcoin season doesn't happen if Bitcoin doesn't go up, and Bitcoin doesn't tend to go up unless there's money in the system globally. The next high confidence move up will be around August 23rd, because remember, there's 82 days typically offset, but that would still bring us to $140,000 and then to $150,000 Bitcoin by the end of September. So that's number 1. Number 2 is the business cycle. We must be at the correct point of the business cycle for risk assets to thrive. And for perspective, the Bitcoin cycle does directly correlate with the bottoms and the tops of the crypto cycles. For example, Bitcoin was invented here at the bottom of the financial crisis, the bottom of the business cycle. It didn't really have a trackable number in Bitcoin's first few years of existence. There was no solidified price. But Bitcoin's first top did directly correlate with the top of the business cycle around 2013. We saw a crypto bottom at the end of 2014 and 2015. We saw the next crypto top at the top of the business cycle around 2017. We saw crypto's next bottom at around 2020, bottom of the business cycle, the next top around 2021 at the top of the business cycle. The correlation is clear, and this is vital for altcoin season to happen.
It also is what drives altcoin season. So the fabled altcoin season, everyone's like, it's never going to happen again. It's just a function of the business cycle. Why? Because household earnings are still subdued, because the business cycle is subdued. Average businesses outside of technology have subdued earnings. The moment the business cycle picks up, everyone has spare cash. Cash gets recycled into assets. People move further out the risk curve. So altcoins are exactly the same as credit spreads, small caps, emerging markets, junk bonds, all of this. They're all exactly the same thing. The further out the risk curve, the business cycle actually drives all of it. It's also the same with fine wines. It's also the same with Rolex watches, all driven by the same thing.
So the business cycle just has to be headed in the correct direction. It's not going to top at the exact day, but we want to be above the line versus below the line. Bitcoin started rising at the end of 2022. This is where Bitcoin thrived. So the direction we're headed, the trend is still good. And as we get to the data from Coinbase, number 3 for me, altcoin season doesn't happen without this. Is Bitcoin dominance rolling over? Altcoin season signals? Well, Bitcoin dominance just saw a large and sustained decline from 65% to 59% in the last 2 months. Alts are about to explode, and we see the confirmation in the live chart, not to say we can't bounce back up and bounce back down. It's volatile, but the trend change is clear. Back in 2021, when we saw altcoin season, Bitcoin dominance just rose and rose and rose for years until the very beginning, January of 2021, and then millionaires were made in just the next 3-month window. It's quick. You have to be ready. We are in the Bitcoin to Ethereum phase today, in my opinion, because Coinbase just put investors on notice that altcoin season is coming. As September approaches, The transition to a full-scale altcoin season is likely. Our positive Q3 2025 outlook stems from macro trends such as potential Fed rate cuts and expected regulatory advancements. And this is very interesting because global M2 liquidity tops in September. We see the market structure bill is expected to happen in September. Fed rate cuts are expected to happen in September. The 4-year cycle, which some people say is dead, I'm still a believer till proven otherwise. The 4-year cycle for Bitcoin, for crypto, tops this September, just like 2021, just like 2017. And Coinbase backs it up further by pointing out the macro. Open interest spiked. CoinMarketCap's Altcoin Season Index says alt season begins when 75% of the top 50 altcoins outperform Bitcoin over the last 90 days. It's currently at 40%, so we need 75%. We're currently at 40%. And a liquidity wave in late Q3 2025 to early Q4 2025 could accelerate the rotation of capital. Let's come back to this chart. Let's review this every 1 to 2 weeks. Let's keep tabs on this. That's why you subscribe to Altcoin Daily. And number 2, Coinbase says liquidity is returning. After 6 months of decline, liquidity has started to recover. And how do we know liquidity is coming back? What metrics do we look at? Well, this has been driven by factors including trading volumes, order book depth, and net stablecoin issuance, the growth of which is due to the clearer regulatory environment of these assets. And that's just been with Bitcoin and stablecoins thus far. We're still waiting for the rest. For example, listen to Canary Capital CEO explain what's changing in September, hint, hint, to usher in the new altcoin ETF wave.
You have all these applications now with the SEC for spot crypto ETFs tied to altcoins, including XRP and Litecoin. So I know you can't talk about these specific filings, but what do you think happens with those filings in general, with those spot crypto ETFs tied to altcoins?
Well, the SEC has been working very closely with the exchanges, NASDAQ, CBOE, New York Stock Exchange, over the last 6 months to create a generic listing standard. And that got published in the last week. So what the generic listing standard will do is give at least some standards so that you don't have to go through an entire process like we did with Bitcoin, with other cryptocurrencies. That generic listing standard largely looks at futures. And does this token have a futures market in the US or not? And that's one of the qualifications. There's several other qualifications that also apply to other commodities. But if you look at what's proposed and what's public, it's still in the 21-day comment period. But once that's over, we do expect to see a lot of altcoins launching probably in September, October.
And that brings us to number 3. Don't forget to like the content, click subscribe for daily updates. Number 3, institutional interest in Ethereum is driving altcoin season. This one's obvious. Fueled by digital asset treasuries, crypto treasury companies, and stablecoin narratives, the divergence in the altcoin season index and total altcoin market cap reflects rising institutional interest for Ethereum. And just look at the data. Ethereum, held by select digital asset treasury companies, is going parabolic. So liquidity is lining up, regulation is lining up, fundamentals are lining up for a strong. Every day we drop a video reviewing this market. Click subscribe if you're interested in making money in crypto.